the opportunities, and what was the phrase you used? The world's your
The
oyster.
world is your oyster.
Yeah. Today we're here at Sodexo's London HQ for next episode of our Inside the Role podcast. I'm joined by Raj Bahara-Penfield, somebody I've known for many years, as an old friend of mine from the West Midlands, who's gone on to do great things here at Sodexo. Good morning, Raj.
What?
How are you today?
I'm good.
A sunny day in London.
I know you well. I say it's going to be 27 degrees, so
Yeah.
a bit more than sunny. Hot.
Welcome to the Inside the Role podcast.
Thank you.
To kick things off, could you please just give us an overview of what you're doing today, what life looks like for you, inside and outside of work,
Gosh.
and before we'll go back to almost the very beginning.
I am currently talent business partner for Sodexo UK Ireland. I've got a 4-year-old daughter, so I've got a little family at home in the West Midlands. She keeps me very busy, runs circles around me, but she's literally like the love of my life.
Yeah.
As is my
Your
husband.
best buddy.
My best buddy, yeah.
Your
Sometimes
daughter's not your husband, your best buddy.
yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's the husband. Most of the time it's Layla. No. But yeah, so she keeps me busy most of the time, to be honest, outside of work.
So that's what life looks like today. So
Yeah.
take us back to the beginning, Raj. How did you first enter the FM industry? What was the route back then?
So, not necessarily in the FM industry, but I guess I've always worked in complex matrixed organisations. I've been in the FM industry for over about 11, 12 years now coming up.
Yeah.
I fell into recruitment. We always laugh about this, don't everyone in recruitment
Did
always
they
laughs
all?
about it. And I had a really, really great manager who actually asked me to apply for a recruitment role that came up. And I've never looked back after that. I loved recruitment. I loved the pace. I loved the challenge. But there was nothing better. And I still get the feeling now when you call a candidate and offer them a job, like that was my favourite part.
Yeah, the buzz never leaves.
Yeah, no.
It really is.
And even now, my job's changed, but I still love it when, we've been able to support someone with their career and I find out that they've been promoted or they've moved in the organisation. So still get some of the buzz. It's just slightly different to
of course.
the TA world. So yeah, but and then I just kind of moved up in talent acquisition for a number of years.
But when did you join Sodexo?
I joined Sodexo in 2018, I think. Yeah, February 2018.
Yeah.
And again, by the same manager that recruited me, pulled me into the recruitment world as well. So it was really nice actually, because there's been a bit of a kind of mentorship support there.
Yeah.
Like consistently.
Yeah.
And then I went into more of a kind of business. But before that, I was in a business partner role, but I joined as a business partner here. And then I think a year in, I moved into my talent manager role.
Okay, so we're talking pre-COVID here?
Yeah, just pre-COVID, 2019. And that was not totally different because we were talking about talent, but just internally.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a talent management team. We had talent processes. So we had a process in how we identified potential.
Yeah.
But it became a much bigger area of focus for the organisation. So I, along with my manager, then created all the kind of processes around, the potential piece. And that was really great. And then the following year, COVID hit, so everything changed. And for a little while, we moved it to redeployment, actually. So
I remember it well. We at Boden did a lot of work with Sodexo actually, and a few other service providers during COVID. In that we were supplying facilities managers who were doing this new program of standing in car parks, COVID testing people. And it was and it was a very testing time. But in many ways, I think the FM industry kind of came together to make it work, and it was new to everybody.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible.
There was a lot of redeployment of really great FM people into doing these literally standing in a car park managing operations. And I think it really showed the resilience and flexibility of FM people being able to put their hand to.
And the agility as well. Like, we learned how to work a lot faster, I think. And I mean, every day, like, processes were changing. It was a it was an experience to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you moved into talent management.
Yeah.
Outside, away from external recruitment. Was that a defining moment there? Could you have taken the route to stay and develop in recruitment and internal resourcing?
I think I started to understand my purpose a little bit, and it's probably really only recently that I've understood why I moved into that space. And the opportunity came up to move into it. And I think we kind of had some restructures as well within the team. But I think I've always really wanted to kind of help people. And you get to touch on that a little bit in recruitment, don't you, in terms of like helping people find a job, helping them understand like where they could use their skills in maybe a different sector or whatever it might be. And I think I've really kept that thread, I suppose, throughout my career. And it's become much more apparent in the talent management space because my job is about helping people unlock their potential. Yeah. Essentially.
It's a common theme. We see a lot of people who have worked on the agency side, which is my background and where I work, who've gone into organisations such as Sodexo and others, and they've used those skills that help them be successful in recruitment to go on and to do great things. It is if you fundamentally have got people at the heart of what you want to do, which is what FM's all about, then I don't think you ever lose that, whatever role you're doing.
No, and it's so interesting because people are our biggest asset. We talk about that quite frequently, and I think the hardest part of my job is getting people to understand that people are our biggest risk as well.
Okay.
So we hold other risks, don't we?
Yeah.
On contracts. So if you ask a manager what their biggest risk is, what would you say? Financial, commercial.
I mean, I would say people.
Okay, well, fair enough.
But they're the biggest risk, but the biggest opportunities. But I'm not running.
You're in the business.
Yeah,
exactly. So, but I think what we try and get them to is what's at the crux of all of those risks. It's people.
Yeah.
So it's people not understanding commercial. It's people not understanding the financials, or people not do what they should do around health and safety, as an example. And I think we get carried away with the word talent sometimes. Talent management is about your bigger picture. Yeah. It's not just about people that have potential. Actually, it's about understanding where all of your people sit and actually understanding them. What are their aspirations? What do they want to do? What don't they want to do? You know, if they're happy where they are as well, how can we help them develop their skills and at the best at what they can be?
Well, that probably leads us into what your role is now within Sodexo, Raj. So talk to us a bit more about that. What does your role look like now? What does appreciate that might not be a typical day or week, but what is the objectives of your role at the moment, and which parts of it do you really love?
Oh, good question. So my role is split into 3 core areas, I would say. There's the talent management piece. So this is about how we enable the business to use talent management as a tool more strategically to understand, where their risk is from a people perspective. How do they then mitigate that risk? And then that leads into succession. So succession is one of our biggest challenges, I would say. Yeah.
Why is that a challenge?
Because we're a complex matrix organisation, we can be quite siloed, I suppose. So part of my job within that talent management space is to provide visibility of our people, of our talent. So that falls then nicely into then developing talent. So probably only took on talent development maybe around 3 years ago-ish, which was a nice evolution of my role, actually, because we talked about it for a little while, and it completely made sense. And we're having career conversations with people, really understanding actually what skills and development they needed, but also aligning that to our regional roadmap and where the business is going and want it to go. Yeah. So the two are really defined now in a framework that we have. So talent development's like the second part of what I do. which if we identify potential in the organisation and gives us cohorts of talent to work with.
So how would you go about identifying high potential colleagues within Sodexo, or even not even necessarily high potential colleagues, but just colleagues with potential who in the future can go on to...
So we have a talent performance process embedded into the organisation. And what that helps us, so our performance management cycle is fairly, well, it is defined. So we have year-end review, go into a new financial year, you set your objectives, you have mid-year review, and back to end-of-year review. So it's like that every year. It has been since I've been here, I think. Manager's job is obviously to have consistent, open, honest conversations around performance management, supporting individuals with their development. And aligned with that, then we start talking about how do we identify potential. So we've got 9 indicators of potential in terms of how we would identify that. So our performance is about, what people are doing and how they're doing it. Our potential is determined about what they're capable of doing in the future. So the two, for a manager, sometimes the two can bleed into one another, but our indicators are quite defined. So we talk about things like resilience, resourcefulness, curiosity, building connection, emotional agility. But the key differentiator for me is drive. That's our accelerator. So you might be showing all of the other indicators, but if you've not got the drives, if you're not motivated, if you're not driven to want to do more, this is around working autonomously and stretching your objectives, maybe taking on some stretch, but having a desire to leave a legacy as well in the organisation. That would be the difference between whether someone's at potential or medium or high potential in the organisation. So that then gives me an understanding of who has potential, so that we can do more with them from a development perspective.
I think there's always, and it's the same in other FM businesses, but also in Boden as well, and recruitment, which is what we do. Which we always say you can teach the skills, but the mindset and drive and all those behaviours, they can be quite difficult to embed into people. But in most cases, we find there's something actually already in there. It's just finding a way to be able to extract it out and giving them an opportunity to be able to show those behaviours as well.
It's just about knowing people, isn't it? I think it's, what makes your team tick, actually. And if they're showing up to work and they're not quite themselves, it's that intuition around, like, are you okay? You don't seem like yourself. And, having the right conversations with people, I think. What motivates you. If you don't want to do more, that's fine. But how can we help you in your current role to do what it is you need to do? And that then leads into the third part of my role, I suppose, around career management. So part of my role is also to support the rest of the business around their career. So I offer career conversations, which in turn supports our internal mobility. So I work quite closely.
In practical terms, how would a career conversation happen?
How would it happen? Most of the time people reach out because my name's been good.
You're the go-to.
Raj,
can I have a word?
Most of the time it is like that. We don't. I'm the only person that does my job. So I work with my manager, so he supports from a talent development perspective. But for the most part, it's only me that does what I do. So I obviously don't speak to 30,000 people that work here, but there's work we need to do around the career piece in terms of how do we bring. So I sit in the Talent and Learning Centre of Excellence. So how do we bring everything that we do together? Because we've got such an amazing suite of opportunity in terms of like learning opportunities, development opportunities, talent development, apprenticeships. It's how do we bring all of that together so that people are really clear about, I know what's available to me, but I also know that I need to be in the driving seat around my own career. And that's
that shows the behaviour that you're looking for in the first place.
And look, potential's fluid, isn't it? It's not. I think people talk about, that person got, tapped on the shoulder. What they don't see is the work that person's put in behind the scenes. So building their network, building their personal brand. It's critical. To their next career move. It's also critical from a business perspective, but anyone can change. So, you know, one day they might not want anything and it might be around their personal circumstances. And in 3 months' time, they might flip the switch and actually say to the manager, do you know what?
I'm ready.
I'm ready now, let's go.
Well, what are some of the biggest achievements that you've made then since working in talent development? I believe there's been some, you know, initiatives that you and your colleagues have introduced.
Yeah.
What's had the biggest impact?
So when talent development first came over, I, along with a colleague of mine, developed a framework for talent development, which and it's not, we didn't overthink it. It consists of 3 pillars around building self-awareness, developing and helping people understand the breadth and depth of our organisation. And we aligned it to our talent potential indicators, actually. So that's all around connection, resourcefulness, curiosity.
Yeah.
And then what can you explore further in terms of leadership skills? So we specifically put activity within those 3 pillars, onboarded a cohort onto that framework, and we typically work at like the 2nd and 3rd layer into the organisation with that framework at the moment.
Yeah. What might be an action that somebody can use within those pillars?
So I always encourage them to start at the beginning, which is how self-aware are you? Because unless we know what skills we need to develop, or actually what our strengths are as well. So I love kind of focusing on strengths too.
Yeah.
Because typically you're happier when you do things that you love doing.
Absolutely.
So how can we develop your strengths, but how can we also, you know, focus on your development areas as well? So we kind of start with the end in mind, think about building that self-awareness, what feedback are you getting? We've got some assessments that we use internally. So they could do an assessment and have a coaching debrief conversation about what's come out of it. You know, what does it mean to you? Is there anything that shows up consistently? And then, you know, what does that output look like? What are you going to commit to doing differently as well?
And do you, and this is probably one for you personally, actually, in that people talk a lot about how important mentors are, and I've had mentors in my career, and you know, I still work with one today that I've worked with for years, and get huge value from that. And having somebody who's probably seen you on your worst days, and seen when you feel like you've got a bridge to overcome that you probably don't have the confidence you can do with yourself. Have you personally, have you had that opportunity to work with a person like that over the years with Sodexo?
I've had probably a consistent mentor throughout my time in recruitment. I still speak to her now. She still works for this business as well. She brought me into the business. I think it.
Who is that? You know,
Rachel Jones.
Okay, another Brummie, I'd say.
Another Brummie, another West Midlander. Yeah. But look, I think it's about what you said, isn't it? She's seen me at some of my worst days, and she's seen me at some of the highest points of my life. So she was there on my wedding day. Yeah. So she, you know, and I think it just goes back to that piece we spoke about, like understanding your people. So when she was my manager, she just took the time to it's that human connection, isn't it? We just forget that everyone is human, and actually everyone has got something going on behind the scenes. They might not show it, they might not want to talk about it, but just knowing that you've got someone there to support you. And I know, like, if I needed to call her at any point, I could just call her and she would be there, personal or professional. Yeah,
it's huge. I make a point myself in, you know, our business is 40 plus people, and we have a team work in the US market, which is different hours, so I don't get to see them all that much. But probably the biggest impact I have as the leader of Boden is those 5 or 10 minute chats I have with people, just making a coffee or just seeing how they're doing, and making the time to do it. And I purposely make the time to do it. And first, it's because you're interested in people. That's the nature of the job that we do. And but secondly, I just remember myself how impactful it was when somebody who had a lot more experience than me and and was seemed to be very, very busy, took the time out to really just have a chat with me, say how I was, and yeah, and if there's things that can be done quite quickly to help them along, then I'll always look to do that.
I think your best mentors are sometimes ones that aren't the formal ones as
Yeah,
well, though.
100%. Yeah.
And I think it's just having that safe and trusted space to go to when you feel a little bit unsure.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke earlier over a cup of tea. You mentioned around the Accelerate program that's come into play this year. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Part of my role is about how do we get further down into the business in terms of understanding where our talent lies. And we didn't have a talent development program per se for our operational managers. I did a load of interviews last year or the year before now, it's all blowing into one, with some of our account leads, for some of our top kind of 20 accounts. And we talked to them about what does it mean to be kind of an account director, and actually what skills do you need to be an account director? Because we know that there are some real challenges around building and developing our pipelines for those roles and moving people because they might not want it, or for whatever reason. So I developed Accelerate again with my manager on going a bit further down to the organisation at that kind of levels at 4 to 6. We've got 50 people on the programme. We launched in February, and we've got a range of roles because of those layers. So it could be anyone. We kind of stipulated that actually you'd need to look after a service line at the very minimum, have a team reporting to you, and have some sort of P&L and budget activity that sits with you as well.
Yeah.
So we've got a range of job titles, catering manager to general services manager to the account manager to a catering services director. So a real range of people at different layers in the organisation. And we're working with an external partner, Right Management, on the programme, and they've designed and developed it. And it's not enough. It's not like a training programme. It's about creating real behavioural change in the organisation and getting people to think differently about their style, their leadership, behaviours. But we developed it with a really busy operational manager in mind because they've got 1,000,001 things to do. So it's not too time intensive as well.
Yeah.
We're about halfway through. I'm really pleased about where it's got to so far. We've had some really great feedback.
And what would a good outcome look like for Accelerate?
We've got measures and KPIs for everything around our talent development program. So the typical ones will be mobility. How many people are moving after the program, and we'll continue to actually track that over a number of years. Retention, obviously, because they're talent. But the biggest one for me is each and every one of them will be on a succession plan post 6 months of the program. So when we come to nearing the end of the program, I'll work really closely with their line managers around, okay, so you've got someone in your team on the program. Now let's talk about where do we put them from a succession perspective.
Yeah.
So the aim is to start to develop and build bench strength in our operational talent from kind of that general services manager level to account manager level all the way up to account director.
Yeah.
Now,
you mentioned the word retention there, all right, and the impact of it should have on retention. And in the work that we do, we speak to a lot of mid to senior level candidates in the market, and probably more than any other factor, not knowing what's next for me is probably the biggest reason why somebody would leave an organisation. So the fact that you're doing something to address that, and someone can very clearly see what the next step is, should really have a good impact on retention. This podcast is past, present, and future, and we're well aware of the challenges that the FM industry has around both bringing young people into the industry and also upskilling the current workforce for what the future might look like. What are some of the things that Sodexo are doing to overcome some of those challenges?
So we've got an incredible apprenticeships and early careers team that sit in the Talent and Learning Centre of Excellence, and there's just opportunity after opportunity that comes up, and it's the great thing is that we're really attuned to the future of work. We know what the challenges around bringing early talent into the organisation, as is I think most organisations are. So we've just pledged 100 foundation apprenticeships in the external market. So we're trying to bring younger people, I think 16 to 24, in through that route. But we also
and could they come in to do sort of any type of apprenticeship, whether that be operational or
I think that
finance, commercial?
I think the foundation level is a specific apprenticeship, but we've got apprenticeships in loads of different functional areas and operational areas. So yeah, as long as, you know, and our talent acquisition team work really closely with our early careers and apprenticeships team to help drive the conversation with our hiring managers around, well, you've got a really great role here. Could we take an apprentice on instead?
Yeah.
And then let's go to the external market and try and bring someone in externally.
Yeah.
And then the flip side of that is a lot of the apprenticeships as well that we've got are also an offer to our colleagues that are in the business. So it's I mean, I started off doing an apprenticeship, had to finish it as a diploma, but it's a lot of people are scared of the work, I think. But if you're willing to learn, then, I mean, people have got, we do a range, so like level 3 all the way up to level 5. I think it's shifted a little bit with the change that the government have made, but there's an incredible suite of apprenticeships available.
I think it's that it's twofold with apprenticeships, in that it's from a social impact point of view, it's important, and I'm sure Sodexo's customers are always looking at how they can work with Sodexo to achieve their sustainability and social impact targets, but also or objectives, should I say, but also the bringing young people in. We have a young guy in our business, a chap called Luke, who was brought in to do a different type of job, and he now basically leads on all about AI and automation now. And I think he's 21 years old, or 21. He was 21 this year. But there was nobody of the age 25 plus who would have ever had those skills. So whilst it's the right thing to do, and it's important to bring in young people into the organisations, they're often the ones with the ready-built skills that are going to, that people like us probably don't have, that can take the business forward in a AI and data future that we're all facing.
Yeah, and I think I love that there's like endless curiosity, I think, with that generation, and I love that. I think it's trying to understand how things work, and there's so much more that we used to as an industry, I think, around the younger generation. And we talked about it before, didn't we? It's about how do we make our sector more attractive, and I think that's the challenge that most businesses will have. It is. It's good. It's very competitive, isn't it? To
attract those entry level and young people into FM. I'm as a passionate advocate of the industry, I love talking about FM. We spoke about, didn't we? Not just the sites or the buildings that you get to work in, but you spoke about with Sodexo, some of the opportunities, and what was the phrase you used? The world's your oyster. The world is your oyster.
And it genuinely is. You could, a lot of our senior managers started their careers off as a chef, and now they're doing something completely different. And that might be a functional role rather than an operational role, but you could come in as a chef and actually develop your skills across soft services, and then you might then take on a leadership role and start to develop your skills in the hard FM space.
It's an industry where I'm a father of 3 boys. If one of my kids wanted to work in FM, I wouldn't put them off. I genuinely wouldn't. I'd probably put them off recruitment.
Send them on.
I'd put them off recruitment, but definitely not FM, because it's just really interesting. And I think that what do you see as in terms of the skills that are going to be needed in a in a business like Sodexo, in the next 5 years, the industry is probably going to change over the next 5 years, and more than it has in the last 25. So
Yeah, look, I think in the last, it's significantly changed in 8 years that I've been here. You know, if you look at sustainability, there's a lot of focus around plant-based, plant-focused. We're really client-centric. So you touched on it earlier. You know, we work with our clients to support them from a sustainability perspective and understanding and helping them with their objectives and goals, but also then from a social impact perspective. So I think there's a skill set in that sustainability piece that I think will continue to develop and get bigger and bigger.
yeah,
Where would we be if we didn't talk about AI, I guess, as well? And I think the bit that's really important for me around AI is also understanding what our future will look like in 2-3 years' time, and what skills we'll need to continue to develop internally so that we're counteracting what AI is potentially going to take over or, you know, evolve us in. Because I don't think it's going to take away. People get scared about it, don't they? But I don't think it's necessarily going to take away the human element.
Well, the great thing about FM
just
for me,
evolve.
the great thing about FM for me is that it's all about how. I mean, you have the functional, you know, how a building works or how service line the building is kept clean, but really it's about how people feel when they come into a workplace, and that comes through people, doesn't it? So it's. Well, let's hope the robots don't take over, because that won't be great. Well, exactly. Yeah. Raj, that's been fascinating. It's from the outside looking in, as we are, and we've known each other for a long time, and Boden have worked with Sodexo for a long time, but it's to be able to have the insight and to let people out there see the insight of what actually goes on inside such a huge, complex organisation, and the challenges and opportunities for people within there is something that we don't often get to see or hear. So that's been really, really fascinating. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. We look forward to releasing this podcast, and this is the first in a series of a few that we'll be doing. So stay tuned and enjoy the summer.